In 1967, I was at Herman Kiefer Hospital in the laboratory, and when the riot broke out, the rebellion, I should say, broke out, we went up on top of the roof of the hospital and looked out at what was happening, and we could see the burning buildings and that sort of thing.
I didn't get to know much about Detroit, being in the Army at the time. I was in Vietnam in '67, but things we heard about it, you know, it hurt my heart. You know what I mean? The things that happened in Detroit, just like today, you know, things that's happening today.
The rebellion came about due to the fact that there were few jobs, opportunities for blacks in the city, in prominent positions, in the major stores, working in the city government, the police, as is now. The police harassed many of the citizens, and that stirred a pot.
Fast forwarding, I guess you might say, to that fateful Sunday, I see a big, huge cloud way off in the distance, and it puzzled me because I'm thinking it's going to be a storm, and I always never want to get caught in a storm. The cloud seems to be coming closer and getting bigger, eventually to the point to where I said I'm going to go call the weather service and see what's going on with this cloud and what's happening. So my sister, who lived in the first row of the projects, so where I'm sitting at on my park bench in the park, I could look right down the first aisle. So I began to walk down to her house to call the weather when her boyfriend, who we call Big Pimp, would come. He kept running out, and he says they're riding on 12.
I can remember the fear that we had. There were rumors running around that there would be gangs coming into communities and destroying property. It never happened. That I'm aware of in some areas.
I watched the 1967 rebellion from my front porch with my stepmother Sadie sitting on the glider. We rocked back and forth while I heard the glass crashing, breaking, people yelling, sirens in the distance, smoke and fire. And I really didn't understand that I was witnessing the end of a time. I was innocent at the time. You know, I was protected from this so-called racism. I was only 12, so it was exciting to see the National Guard sitting on their tanks and occupying our neighborhood. I didn't know that they were there to keep us in. I thought they were there to make us safe.
People are just running around, breaking glass and going into some of the stores. So that was that Sunday. The next night, I didn't make the event, but they went to Queenie's store, which was right there on Justine in Nevada. And as they were coming from Queenie's store, the police shows up, or National Guard, whatever, and as they're running across the field, by us staying on the first row, there was a big field, and then there was Justine Street. So as they're running across the field, Popeye, last name is Cosby, I can't think of what Popeye's first name was, but they shoot him in the back and he winds up dying. And I just remember his mother sitting out in the yard just crying and crying. She had 18 kids, but you know, when you lose one, that was something, you know. So I just remember her just sitting out there in the yard crying, you know.
Out of the rebellion came opportunity, and more people got an opportunity to have advancement.
We were being basically, I was kind of young and naive and not really recognizing the oppression that we were living under, you know. Being a pimp in a hole was a career choice for us at that particular point in time, hustling. You know, go to the factory, black girls couldn't get decent jobs. I mean, the racism in the employment world was just astronomical, you know. So we were being channeled into black market, antisocial, deviant behavior type careers. You know, we were being channeled into them. Pimping, hustling, stealing, all those particular kind of things there, you know. The police, the Stretch had already murdered one of the Curry boys. There was other incidents going around the city where the police were, you know, Big Four. They was known to just basically beat people up. When I mentioned John Iron Palmer, you know, I am just about positive that the white police officers died to get a job in the black neighborhood so that they could take advantage of the depression that we were living under.
I just pray that our people would come together, the people in America come together and stop the killing and discrimination and segregation in this country, because God put us here as one people. In Vietnam, young men died, their blood was red. If he was black, his blood was red. If he was white, his blood was red. So the only difference in us is we have a little pigment in our skin, and our hair might be a little nappier. But we are still Americans, man.
One word that describes the rebellion for me is positive. And I say that in spite of all of the negative, there was a lot of good that emerged that was so slow in coming before. And had it not happened, I don't know if we would have made the advancements that we made.
I looked at the 91 years that Charles McGee has been on this planet, and that 20-foot statue that he erected that is so, it gave me chills to when that red drape came off and I saw this culmination of Africa and Detroit and pain and sorrow and life and hope. It was like there is no hope without activism, and I do believe that if this man has come through 91 years, lived longer than I can imagine, and he still lived through histories and stories that I can't even imagine, and he still can say, at 91, we're together, we're one, we're united, I bow.
It takes sometimes a serious situation for people to understand the depth of hurt and lack of job opportunities, a lack of movement up the ladder in terms of government, in terms of university enrollment, and all of those things that make a community great. But after the rebellion, there were many people who came together and said, we're going to make it better, and it did become better.